Welcome back to Gains and Growing Pains. Here on this channel, I talk about anime, gym, life, and just in general, all things mental health, a little on the Delulu side if you run that way. So today I wanted to touch on a topic that I have been talking about on my videos previously. I was talking about on my actual, episodes, I guess, of Gains and Growing Pains, how I may make some character synopsis videos on anime characters that I feel called to make them on. Now, obviously, I feel like still go ahead and drop a name in the comment if you do have a favorite anime character you want me to go over the way that I'm going to. But I will probably be doing them only if I have watched the series and actually gained a synopsis about them or something about them. However, I'm still going based off of mainly gym today because this character is definitely someone I channel when I go to the gym and I'm lifting weights. So without further ado, I am going to be doing Yuji Itadori today. And he is not really my favorite character in JJK. I don't really have a favorite character in JJK. I feel like all of them are pretty good for their own reasons. I definitely just kind of float from character to character. It's actually, now that I'm thinking about it, really peculiar because I actually don't really have a favorite character in JJK. I feel like there's so many good ones. So without further ado, like I said, let's roll into why I channel Yuji Itadori in the gym. So this is probably going to be mostly because of his overall trait that I think was the most predominant to me when I was watching Jujutsu Kaisen. It's the trait of being just downright obnoxiously stubborn about some things. Now, I feel like Yuji Itadori is definitely rolls with that kind of crazy. If you really look at his character, through the whole season, he's kind of really stubborn. He actually gets told, multiple times, not to do something. He's kind of a go for it attitude, right? If you tell me, no about something, I'm still gonna do it if I feel like I'm led to do it, right? So he can be told multiple times no. I'm catching up with the latest season and he, not to spoil anything, but there is an episode where he kind of has to stay there and get something done per se. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not going to go into detail. And he won't leave until he gets this thing done. And he goes through a lot of pain, as usual with Yuji, to do that thing, right? Or get that thing he wants, right? And I think you can already see where I'm going and saying I channel this in the gym because with weight training in general, if you're new to it, then I'll kind of explain, but if you're not, you definitely already know where I'm going. There's this stubbornness you have to have in getting what you want. So for me, I particularly will target spots. Now, I know you're yeah, it's weight training, you target muscles. But I will be working on different muscles at different times. I almost always have one group of muscles that I'm working on to in that time frame, I guess you would say, to make those more prominent or grow those more. So some muscles, depending on your genetics, grow faster than others. My family has calves of steel. I have never not had calves that look like freaking bricks on the back of my leg. Now, I did carry a lot of, a heavier amount of weight through my, early life. But I didn't really have, that much weight that I would gain that much muscle, you know? So my family definitely has Tenya Ida calves, and I feel like that's something, a good example of how, sometimes muscles grow just regularly. I barely hit calves, and my calves are, carved, right? But I do focus in on muscles. I'm obsessed with shoulder muscles, but I did take a little bit of a breather with those and like focus my energy recently off of those a little more because I wanted to train my rear delts and my upper lats. That's what I was going for like recently. And I will tell you, like, in a month, they showed up. And if you do weightlifting, like, if you're doing it to absolute failure, which is what I'm going to get into with his character, then you know what I'm talking about. Like, you can target one and have them grow in like a month or so and make substantial progress. I even show you on my page that I made that progress. And that progress was one I had already been lightly working out that muscle in my that muscle back here right on the back of the neck. I'm like blanking on it. But you would think I'm not. I wouldn't because I've like been so focused on it. But yeah, that muscle particularly on each side, I have been focusing on a lot. And when I really started focusing on it for like a month, it grew substantially. And that's kind of like those videos that I just posted on my progress on that. So it's like, I get that every day you're going into the gym and whatever you're working out that day, you are essentially should be giving it your all. But there are certain muscles that I know, like, I get like Yuji about it, and I'm like, I need these to grow. And that's all I'm gonna focus on for them to grow at this time. And yeah, maybe that's not the best way or anything, but it sure does work because I'm still giving a good amount of effort in the gym whenever I'm in there doing other muscles that day or other days. But I'm particularly looking at those, and I may add like an exercise or so to my regimen to get those to blow up a little bigger. A lot of times when I'm in the gym and I want one to grow really fast, I will superset it with another different variation of working out that muscle. So if you don't know about that, that's a little tip. You basically do your regular one that you would do for that, and then you go in right after it with as many reps, I just do it this way, as many reps as you can with like, I was doing reverse flies, right? And then I went into it afterwards. I added shrugs with dumbbells, seated shrugging with dumbbells. Shrugging is such a funny word. I don't even know if that's an actual word. It is, but I think I'm not using it in the actual sense. But dumbbell shrugs seated after reverse flies, and let me tell you, it blew up my upper back. Like, those blew up that muscle, and I was like, okay, this is great. So that's what I mean when I'm like focusing on a muscle per month. Just a little gym side tangent, but you're here for the gym too, so I'm just gonna like go and keep that in there for you. If you did need any help with that particularly, you're targeting a muscle, I hope that does help. But going on to Yuji Itadori's character, I feel like one of the things that I do love about his character is the stubbornness, or I guess you could say audacity of his character. He will not give up until he gets what he wants. If he feels like that is what Justice League should happen, if he feels like that is what is supposed to happen, or he has his why, his strong why, and his intention on why it should happen, he's not going to give up until it's done. And that is just so inspiring, especially for weight training, because when you're in the gym, if you weight train, you know you have to go to absolute failure. You have to go to absolute failure. And you have to be willing to put yourself through that pain, just like he did in the latest episode that I watched. I still need to catch up with the rest of the season. But he put himself through a lot of pain just to get this thing that he needed. And yes, there's why and intentions behind it. But I think we all have, if we have like, a healthy relationship with the gym, we do have our why and our intention behind being there, right? And weightlifting, it's kind of hard to actually make progress if you don't have a why or an intention, right? If you don't have a purpose for being there, I found it, at least for me, very hard to make progress in weight training. And once I put this intention behind my weight training, I was actually able to push it to failure. So that is a big reason that, another big takeaway you can take from Yuji Itadori's character, the passion and the drive that he lets his purpose and his why give him are one of the things that helps him push through. If you're not aligned with that thing that you want or that, goal that you have, and you don't have like solid intentions and a why behind it, you're not going to be able to get there as easily. It's going to be 10 times harder because you're not aligned with that thing, right? With Yuji's character, I feel like he definitely, that's kind of like another pointer you can take away. He doesn't really concern himself with things that aren't in his why or his purpose, right? He is totally goal driven towards what he has. He's not concerned about other people. He's not concerned about judging people. That's another great trait of his. He doesn't judge really people. I've noticed he's one of those anime characters that is really non-judgmental, but he's kind of there for like the fun time and everything, right? But he's like also, he does it for a reason. Like, he's not concerned about those people or being judgmental at all because he's so focused on his things. And this is a really great thing to be, because when you get in that flow, it's kind of like it's divine. It's really, really great. And most gym goers know what I'm talking about. Most people who have hobbies and things that they do and put time towards things that they love know what I'm talking about when I say this. It is absolutely like the sweet spot when you're in that kind of rhythm. Now, you have your times where it goes dry and everything, and you have trouble getting motivation. You're going through other life stuff. But oftentimes I have learned that I just need to keep focusing on what I can control in the moment and what I can do with my goals and my dreams that I'm working towards, right? But that's another thing that his character definitely does. You will notice that he is not judgmental. He is very action driven. Like, he does things that are aligned with his purpose per se in the series, because that's all he gives his attention to. Now, you could be sitting here going, Olivia, obviously, this is life or death stuff that he's dealing with. I totally understand that. But in the beginning, it didn't necessarily work out that way. In the beginning, he kind of did it off his grandpa's, like, dying wish and everything. And he really, well, I think his grandpa more of gave him a little hint towards, like, having a purpose in general. And he kind of took that and was like, okay, I can do, like, he actually really deeply thought about it, is what I'm trying to say. And he aligned his purpose with what his grandpa said. If that makes sense at all, I think for me it makes sense. So I'm just gonna, I'm gonna put that opinion out there. But, again, all of this is my own opinion. You can have your own on this character in different perceptions of people, but this is actually, like, mine. So I'm not saying that, his character isn't other things or there's not other traits about his character that are very prominent, but to me, this is the one that jumped out a lot. So I'm just giving my synopsis and opinion on that. Also, when you're in the gym, as I said before, you need to train to complete failure. So I touched upon this before, but I want to bring it up again. Complete failure. Like, I stop when I can't do correct form on my last rep because I'm probably shaking way too hard and my muscles are trying to give out for me not to finish it. Now, don't think I'm sitting here saying I'm perfect. There are days that I go to the gym and I just go because I need to. I know it's good for me and it's healthy. But those days are still days where I'm going and putting in my all in a different kind of way. So you're still showing up with that attitude, that stubbornness to achieve your goals, to do that healthy thing for your body that day, even though your mind or your body may not be feeling like it. Now, if you're feeling sick or whatever, then obviously, yes, it's time to rest. It's time to recalibrate, and there is progress in resting. There's good progress you can do when you're resting. But if you're not, having that gumption to get up and get yourself to the gym and do the healthier thing, whatever it may be for your body that day or your mind, is definitely something that does take that stubbornness that Yuji has. It's that waking up every day and choosing that choice that you know is the right choice and the one aligned with your goals, right? And that's something that, like, obviously, like I said, life or death situation that he's kind of in, but that's something that you can see his morals align with a lot. He always, like, evaluates what he thinks is the morally right, and the best choice to make for the people around him, and he goes for that one. And he goes for the one that also, like, is best for, not in a selfish way, but in a healthy way, him. Now, his character also has the flaw, I guess we can get into this. His character also has the flaw of maybe overdoing it a little. Showing how this, if you take it too far, you can overdo it. And that kind of ties into the rest aspect that I was talking about. His character, if you do channel his energy to work out and everything, is definitely great. But if you're not listening to your body, like, sometimes it shows it in the series. Like, I think the Nanami scene where they were fighting, like, at school together, and Nanami's like, bro, you got a freaking hole in your stomach. Like, you gotta go home. Like, you shouldn't be. Like, Nanami, that 9 to 5 check-in day, like, that kind of showed contrast to Yuji's attitude, but in a balancing way of, like, Yuji can take it a little too far sometimes. Because, yes, when you have that emotional drive and that why that's connected to emotions and intentions that are connected to emotions, you can often take it a little too far. And there's a lesson here on temperance. You need to be able to listen to your body when you're going to the gym. And this is something that I'm really involved in right now, because for some reason I got sick at, I don't know if you guys keep track of this, but the beginning of the Chinese New Year, I got sick. A bunch of things happened. I had a lot of catastrophe chaos going on around my life. A lot of things happened, and I ended up getting sick because I was outside for like 2 days straight in the cold at like -degree weather. And I needed to rest. And I took like a week to rest because I just knew myself and I knew my body. And I was like, I need to take time to rest. There's no going to the gym after this. If I don't fully recuperate, I'm not going to be able to go to the gym for a while. So instead of making that sickness last 2 weeks because I went back to the gym and, exhausted myself and got sick again, I just had it last 1 week, and then I started really temperancing myself on the energy I was expending in my body. Now, I was listening to my body, right? But that's kind of like a different, like, it's the same, but to connect to that, up until like right now, which is like a month or two later, I'm still not back to my normal gym routine. I feel like there's other reasons, like the divine or the universe or whatever you may say, is kind of trying to keep me and put me in a period of rest because it has other ways to make me be productive in my life, like mental health and stuff like that, which I definitely knew like I needed to focus on some of that stuff in this moment. But it's kind of like these mindset shifts that it wanted me to focus on instead of the gym as much. And while I was sitting there kind of freaking out, being like, oh my God, I noticed that, I need to also take that energy that I give towards the gym, that stubbornness, that, authenticity, and bring it into other areas of my life too. And make sure I was taking the time to rest and rejuvenate just as much sport-like as I was going to the gym, if that makes sense. So you should also be looking at rest as a sort of sport too. And yes, it will be very challenging, and you will have to channel that Yuji attitude into it. Because me personally, and I know a lot of gym goers will have this very stubborn like thing of like, oh my gosh, we're keeping track of what days we're going, what we're working out. It's very hard to be taken away from that. And when the universe literally says if you go to the gym 3 days in a row, then you're gonna get sick, And then I realized, like, I can't do that right now, and that was my split and everything. It's kind of crazy to go through. It's really boggles your mind and makes you rethink things and makes you slow down. And I have been trying to push against it lately, and it has not been working. Like, and I also started taking like pre-workout at the same time. Man, it immediately said no to that. And then it was kind of like, look, the message I was getting was, look, if you can be so stubborn about the gym, right? You can also be stubborn about resting. But you're being the other kind of stubborn where you don't want to rest. And so that leads me to where I am right now with discovering, like, I'm going through like a journey of like balance in the gym, not being as toxic on myself. So that's kind of the thing that I feel like, Yuji can go a little overboard with, is being like a little toxic with that go, go, go attitude and needing to like slow down sometimes and reevaluate what needs to happen. But all in all, that attitude that he does carry is great to have in the gym. Like I said, it pushes me to my reps. It gets me to my new PRs. Not that I always channel Yuji, but when I do, like lately when I've been watching Jujutsu Kaisen, I have really been like admiring that trait about him. And it's making me go to the gym oftentimes like gym goers do, with that in mind, and pushing me to go to that last rep, that last failure, right? But there is that lesson of the fact that rest is also a sport in the sport. Like, you need to be able to give your body that rest. Being that stubborn and not leaving till you get that answer or you get that rep or you're going to absolute failure in the gym is awesome. It's going to take you to great places. It's going to help give you so much progress in the gym. And you are doing an absolute amazing job if you're doing it that way. However, do not underestimate rest. If you do have this trait, I will say, if you relate to Yuji in that way, which I kind of find myself doing, being like relating to him in that way, I did notice that the con to it was that you need to take time to rest. You need to take time to rejuvenate and just give yourself a little bit of grace. And also look at, like I said, resting as another sport. It really is part of the sport, especially if you're really in gym and everything. Now, just a little tidbit to say on the mindset in general. Doing this with things in life is also going to get you very far. If you genuinely have something that you want to go after, whether it's body goals, physique, like anything, career goals, anything, this attitude will definitely get you like a lot of progress. And that's one thing that, is great. It's like the stubbornness and the willingness. Sometimes all it takes for that next wall to crumble to get to the next step is the audacity to do the things that other people aren't willing to do. And do the things that make you uncomfortable because the only thing you have in mind is that purpose. And that is the reason with audacity that's going to get you to your next goal. So I do admire this trait about Yuji. And I think that this is a trait that he definitely shines in that field and in a unique way. A lot of other main characters in anime do have this trait. I do recognize that, but I feel like Yuji makes it shine in like a different light. He makes it shine in a different way, in a way that is just pure determination and stubbornness in its highest form. So, that being said, I'm gonna wrap up this video. It is a snow day outside today, so I was snowed in. I had a lot of thoughts running around about this video that I wanted to make particularly, and I really wanted to make it today. So I just kind of jumped into it. I have been thinking about it for a while though, so that's where I got all this like insight and everything. If you like how I do this video and you like my kind of like this way of doing character synopses, you like gym, life, anime, mental health, being Delulu, this is the place to be. Subscribe because I will be doing a lot more videos like this. I already have some videos piled up in my inventory. If you want to go look at those on my channel and Spotify, this is the place to be if you like anime and kind of converting the lessons that it gives us into real life and putting like a mental health perspective to them too. Like I feel like there's a lot to learn in anime and why it makes it so like addicting for us to watch and why it influences us and makes such an impact, at least on me when I watch it. So if you relate to that, stick around, subscribe, leave a comment down below on what you think about Yuji's character and the traits that you admire about him, and anything I said that kind of like stuck out to you or anything like that. Any questions you have or anything. I'm trying to build a community here that we can all talk about the things we love. That's why I'm not just talking about one thing that I like, just anime. I'm relating it to anime, gym, like all the things in my life are purposeful. Just like I said with Yuji, I am not including anything really in my life that does not have purpose to my goals and my dreams. And if you're like that, then this is definitely the community for you, and welcome in. My name is Olivia, and this has been Gains and Growing Pains. Until next time, keep smashing your goals and your dreams, and I will see you in the next one.